everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for those of you that have just joined me. I am so excited to teach you all these exciting techniques, and I really hope you can learn a lot from me. So this week's technique is a rather exciting one. I will be showing you how to do 3 variations with elongated stitch. Okay, now the tutorial for this stitch, the one that we're going to be using or working with, is linked below, so do go check it out if you want a slower, more clear demonstration on the stitch itself. But this demo is solely focusing on variations with the stitch. Okay, now I have found that a lot of students tend to stick with just doing the stitch itself rather than experimenting and taking it further. So I thought it'd be good to kind of show you what you can do with it. Now these are just 3 simple techniques to work with, but you can obviously do a lot more than what I'll be showing you. I do have swatches and patterns available on my website with the stitch. If you do want to take it further, do have a look at those. But I hope you find this exciting because it's amazing to work with. Okay, so this is the first swatch that I did. I used cotton tape and matte viscose, which is a lot drapey and it's a lot more see-through, which works really well and balances out the knit of fabric really well. But this is the second swatch, the one that I'll be demonstrating with the Abigail, and I really love this swatch. I just think the yarns work really well, but they are both quite different to look at. So again, experiment with yarns you've got on hand, or again, these are available on my website if you need to get them. Right, let's get started. So I've gone ahead and casted on a few needles and knitted a few rows in the Abigail yarn, which is linked below. So I will be using just 2 yarns for this demonstration, which is the Abigail and cotton tape. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is go ahead and push all of your needles forward in preparation for the stitch, and to make sure all of your latches are open. Push these needles slightly over to the back where the stitches lay just behind the latch. Okay, and we are going to go ahead and do the elongated stitch. Now I do have a demonstration for the stitch which I've linked below, so I am going to do this a little bit quicker than I normally would, just because there is a demonstration already. Okay, so we are using the cotton tape for this. I'm going to lay the yarn over and individually pull each needle all the way to the back of the bed. Once you've done so, go ahead and pull all of these stitches down. And we are going to start off by doing some transfer work. Okay, so for this transfer work, I'm going to be using a 2-pronged transfer tool. And we are going to start off by taking the 3rd and the 4th stitch, so these 2 here, and we are going to transfer it over to the right 2 needles. Okay, so we're transferring it over by 2 needles, and now we're going to leave these 2 as it is and take the next 2, which is these 2 here, and move it to the left. So now we've got 2 empty needles, and then the next 2 we're going to take and move it to the right, leave these 2 here, and then take the next 2 and move it to the left. Okay, so we will essentially be working with a layout of 2 needles working, 4 empty, 2 working, 4 empty. Okay, take the next 2, move it to your right, and then the next 2, move it to your left. So just continue to do so until the end of your knit. And now I've done all my transfer work, and what I'm going to do is now push needles into working position. Okay, now for this you can change it to what I'm doing, but the way I'm going to do it is I am going to push the right and the left needle of those 2 working needles into work. Okay, then take the next 2, move the left and the right needle forward into working position, and within the next set take the left and right into working position, and just do so within each set. And we are going to go ahead and knit 1 row. I am knitting on tension 5 with this yarn. Okay, and now I'm going to push forward the 1 empty needle from each of these sets. Okay, so you can pick the left or the right, knit 1, and now what I'm going to do is simply lift this float and place it on the empty needle and just pull the needle forward. Like so. And now I'm going to knit 2 rows. And that's your lace transfer done, okay? So you can just simply repeat this to make it into a pattern. You can repeat it in the sense where you basically do the placement differently, where you do it here instead of here, okay? Now, the next change you can make to the elongated stitch, or the next variation, would be some cable work. Now this is very exciting. So we're going to start off by doing the elongated stitch again, okay? So push all your needles forward and just repeat the process of the stitch. Right, I've done the stitch, and now I'm going to go ahead and just manually open all the latches because it makes the transfer a little bit easier, okay? Grab a hold of 2 3-prong transfer tools, and we are now going to start with the edge needles, okay? So place one of the tools on the 3 needles and the other tool on the next 3 needles. So take both those sets onto your transfer tool and just swap the stitches over. So I'm going to place the right over to my left first, and then the left over to my right next, okay? Then for the next set, which is this one here, I'm going to do the opposite, okay? I'm going to place the left over to my right first, and then the right over to my left first. I'm just simply swapping the transfer, okay? So this one, now the next set, I'm going to do the right to my left first, and then the left over to my right, and then just repeat. So you can stick to just one way, okay? You can just do right over left or the other way. You don't have to do what I'm doing. So I'm short of stitches here, so I'm just going to do a 3-in-1 cable. You can just ignore this part. Okay, so I've done so, and now I'm going to push all of my needles all the way forward and knit 2 rows. And that is my cable transfer. Okay, so again, you can simply repeat this cable transfer after these 2 plain rows above it, so it makes a complete cable almost, okay? You can also change the placement again of this to make it look slightly different. It will obviously change your pattern again. So I am going to do this one once more. So all I'm doing is I'm just repeating this, okay? So you can actually forward it to the next variation if you need to. So I'm just repeating what I've done below, but again, you can change it if you like. Push your needles forward and knit 2 rows. And now you can see that complete cable. So that's a second variation done. And now we're going to move on to the third variation you can do. Okay, so start off by doing your elongated stitch again. So I've done my elongated stitch, and I'm going to go ahead and knit 1 row. And now we're going to do some lace transfer or some eyelets, okay? So this time I'm going to transfer every other needle over to my right, okay? Or to your left, whichever you're comfortable with. So I'm just doing it over to my right after knitting that 1 row. push the empty needles into working position, okay? Move your cams onto hold position and knit across. So what we're doing is we're just tucking on these needles. Now push your cams back to normal knit position and knit across. So all we've done is we've done the elongated stitch, we've done one row in the Abigail, transferred every other needle over to our right to create an eyelet structure, push the empty needles forward and knit across, okay? So it will give you a little eyelet right above the elongated stitch, okay? And now what you can do is you can go ahead and then repeat that, okay? So we go ahead and do the elongated stitch again. So this variation basically just shows you how to add techniques within this technique. And I think it's really important that you understand how to experiment as well a little bit, because I find that a lot of students, a lot of people tend to get stuck with just the stitch itself. So knit one row and then you just repeat this little eyelet pattern above it, and then it's just a simple repeat. So I hope that was very exciting for you. I think I really love this technique, especially the yarn combination. So obviously for the other swatch, I used matte viscose instead of this metallic gold. So you can swap your yarns around, but I do recommend for the elongated stitch to use a tape yarn or a slightly chunkier yarn, okay? If you've got any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you next week. Bye.